Mosley,
Dr.
come on
Mosley,
up.
come on up. Thank you so much for having us.
On behalf of First Take, we just wanted to also sign here. We wanted to present this to you. It means the world to us that y'all had us here, and this wonderful, magnificent crowd showed up the way that it did. This is a spectacular university. I want to thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
HBCU Game Day here on the campus of Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach, Florida, where the world's most famous beach sits just a few miles away from campus. I am here with the president of Bethune-Cookman University, Dr. Albert Mosley. How are you doing today, Dr. Mosley?
Doing well, Brother Vaughn. Good to see you, man, and welcome to the world's most famous beach, to Daytona Beach. We're happy to have you here on our campus.
Absolutely. Well, the excitement since you took over at Bethune-Cookman University after some years of not having stable leadership, the excitement around the university has been sparked. What have you seen since you've been here to see that makes you feel that there's a resurgence going on at Bethune-Cookman University?
Well, I mean, to your point, there has been a lot of excitement, both on campus and off campus. On campus, we are seeing morale up with our faculty and staff. Our enrollment is up. We are seeing student participation at higher levels at our athletic events and other sort of social events on campus. Off campus, some of our partners, our major donors, are stepping up to the plate. They're coming back to the table. They are expressing, I think, a great deal of enthusiasm about our future, given the direction that we're currently going. And so it's been very palpable. The levels of excitement, as I said, on campus, off campus, in the community, with our alums even, and just really, really invigorating to me as president. And I know that it's also invigorating to all of our major stakeholder groups, all of our major constituencies.
So looking at the landscape of HBCUs, it's becoming extremely difficult, some by legislation by the United States government, some by the natural economic factors. How is Bethune-Cookman University navigating those and making sure that the university thrives?
There are some sort of positives, or rather pros and cons associated with that. The mere fact that we're private shows us a bit from some of the political conversations, or the really hyper political conversations that are occurring, that a lot of our public institutions have to face. However, we are in a state where those conversations do take on a whole different sort of tone and meaning. And so while we're shielded to a certain degree, we have to be very mindful of some of the especially things that can be potentially polarizing. We need to be very mindful of those. I think the thing that Bethune-Cookman has, that a lot of HBCUs have, but they've got to really tap into it even more, is really how we're grounded and what we're grounded in. There's something, a lot of things that are unique about Bethune-Cookman, but one of the things that's most unique about us is the fact that we are the only historically black college or university that was founded by a woman and that bears the name of a woman, of a black woman, founded by a black woman and bears the name of a black woman. And here on our campus, here in our community, we constantly remind ourselves of the significance of the life and journey of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. What she did not only for what the university that now bears her name, but what she did for our people as well. Just that the notion that you can take something very small, $1.50, and build something like this right here. Imagine telling that story to young people who grow up in environments and settings where they may not have much at all, and learning that this woman in 1904, before women could vote, before even white women could vote, and certainly when the suffrage movement was passed in 1920, even black women still couldn't vote in 1920. So before women could vote, before women could really even own property, you had a black woman in the South, in the state of Florida, who dared to buy property and to declare, I'm going to start a school initially for black girls. Like that's I mean, being grounded in that sort of history, being grounded in that sense of mission and purpose, I think is the one thing that sets us apart from a lot of other institutions.
You bring up a great point, because sometimes it's often overlooked that when Dr. Bethune started the college there, it literally was a tumultuous time for African Americans, and she was an amazing woman. I've learned a lot about her lately. Sitting with Donovan Wells a couple years ago, he showed me a photo of her leading the band. You know, so she did everything. I would imagine, from what I've learned, she cut the grass around here as well.
She probably did. Well, I mean, we know the stories about her baking sweet potato pies, and so I'm sure she did quite a bit to just ensure that her school would be successful. And I imagine in those early years, I mean, as you pointed out, she wore many, many hats in those early years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've seen what we feel is an elevation of Bethune-Cookman University as of late, as it's been more stabilized and become more focused. Where do you see Bethune-Cookman University in 5 years?
You know, again, going back to those things that make us a little different from everybody else. Number one, you know, being, as I said, the only HBCU founded by a black woman, named after a black woman. There's something else that really sort of distinguishes us also. And this is one of those things that a lot of times we don't talk a lot about, but that distinguishing thing has I think the potential to propel us an even higher level. You look at private HBCUs that are D1 institutions, private HBCUs that are D1s. There are only 3 in the nation: Howard, Hampton, Bethune-Cookman. Those are the only 3 private HBCUs that are D1s. Most of the other D1 HBCUs are public institutions. When you think about that, and you think about where Howard stands on an international scale, where Hampton stands on a national and international scale, there is the potential for Bethune-Cookman, just by looking at athletics alone, to rise to an even higher level. So, you know, I get extremely excited about things like that. You know, when you put us in, you know, you put it in that sort of perspective, and you begin to line us up against institutions like Howard, Hampton, even in the SWAC. Let's bring it down to the SWAC. We are the only private school in the SWAC. You got a lot of large public HBCUs in the SWAC. And yet, given our size and the mere fact that we don't get, you know, we get some state support, but we don't get the level of state support that state schools get, given all of that, we are incredibly competitive. We're incredibly competitive, and not just competitive, but we're pretty good. You know, we're pretty good at the things we do.
Yes.
We finished regular season men's basketball #1, regular season baseball #1. We had an outstanding season in track and field, and the list kind of just goes on and on.
And the men won the cross country championship.
Oh yeah, men.
Well.
They won the cross country championship as well. And so to think that all of that came from this little bitty school, this little church school that was started by a black woman, you know, I think that's absolutely phenomenal. Yeah.
I'm glad you transitioned into athletics, because we are HBCU Game Day, and you know, it's just sports and culture. So let's talk a little bit about sports. Bethune-Cookman University has had a remarkable year, and you also extended your athletic director, who's brought some stability to the programs as well. From the coaches I've talked to, they think he understands them. He has definitely ingratiated himself into the culture. Reggie Theus has done a remarkable job since he's been here stabilizing Bethune-Cookman athletics.
Hi, Reggie Theus.
Did it all.
Did it all.
Did it all.
Good to see you, my brother.
Always,
Good to see you, man.
always. I got to do this one time, though.
Go ahead.
You know, Cam tried to do the Hell Wildcat. He didn't do it right.
Okay.
I can do
go
it
ahead,
right.
Reggie.
Let's go. Hell Wildcats. Hell Wildcats. Hell Wildcats. Hell
Yeah, he has. Reggie's done an amazing job. It's always helpful to have an athletic director, to have an AD that has not only played themselves. He's an amazing athlete, but has played at a professional level. He's coached before. He understands what it means to build a winning culture, to build a championship culture. And that's something that he strives to do on a daily basis. We've gotten sort of specifically into the conversation about athletics now, but I will say this, another thing that AD Theus is really committed to, and all of the coaches in our athletic program are committed to, is not only building a championship culture on the field, on the court, but also in the classroom. And so you look at our APR rate here at Bethune-Cookman, how well we're doing with that, when 5 years ago we were struggling quite a bit with level 2 sanctions. And so now, we've got our kids are doing very good in the classroom, and they're doing very good expressing themselves with the sport that they're very passionate about, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, softball, whatever thing is that they are incredibly passionate about. And to have an AD like Reggie Theus, who understands that he gets it. I feel like with all of the pieces now coming together for Bethune-Cookman University, with us having the kind of stability that we've longed for here, stability and leadership at the top. We've got a winning culture when it comes to athletics. We've got new, strong academic programs in cutting-edge fields like cybersecurity, applied AI, digital marketing. We've got all of the ingredients here for a significant recipe of success. We've got all those ingredients here at Bethune-Cookman.
Another thing that AD Theus emphasizes as we watch this footage, I was able to attend a baseball camp that the baseball team had over at Jackie Robinson Park. And when you see these little kids from the community out having a great time, I think the baseball players had more fun than the kids did.
Yeah.
But how important is it to you that the students, the athletes, and everybody associated with Bethune-Cookman University is ingratiated into the community?
Yep, service is one of our core values here at Bethune-Cookman. We've got quite a number of core values. Service is what sort of helps to ground us here as an institution. I'll give an example of how we've lived that out this past academic year. The vast majority of our Greek letter organizations, they engage in their own individual community service projects. We have our Center for Civic Engagement here on campus that arranges a number of service projects for the community. We partner with one of the local food banks. The fourth Wednesday of every month, there is a line of cars along International Speedway Boulevard. Hundreds of people who come to our campus to receive boxes of food for food insecure people. But back in April, as a part of my inauguration, one of the things that we wanted to do, you do all your typical things for an inauguration. You've got an investiture service, you have a banquet, all that kind of stuff. We wanted to have a day of service. So I said, let's do a day of service. And here's what we did, Vaughn. We deployed about 2,500 people, students, faculty, and staff, into roughly 50 community and faith-based organizations here in the Daytona region for that entire day. We were at middle schools, high schools, we were at nursing homes, food pantries, doing the amazing work of giving back to our community. One of the things that I like to emphasize for colleges and universities is that we're anchor institutions. We serve our students, but we also serve this community. Think about the number of people who are employed here, who live and work in this community. Think about the jobs, the economic impact, all of that we provide for the greater Daytona Beach region. And for us to, even with all of that, for us to say, to set a day apart and say, with all of that, we still want to give back to this community because this is a community that's been really good to us. And so we want to give back to this community. That speaks volumes. It teaches our students a lesson, an amazing lesson that, you've got to give back. Our motto, enter to learn, depart to serve. And we want to stress to them, you don't have to wait until you depart to serve. You can actually serve now with our day of service. That was a part of the inauguration. That's going to be an annual event for us now. We're going to do a day of service every year, and every year we're going to try to get at least 2,000 to 2,500 students, faculty, and staff out into the Daytona Beach community.
That's quite amazing. Dr. Mosley, I first met you probably early November.
At First Take, I think.
First Take.
Yep.
God, it's quiet in here. It was so loud in there. I wish I had some earplugs, but Moore Gymnasium was rocking that day. And even Stephen A. Smith and Ryan all said, wow, this is one of the most energetic crowds we've had anywhere. Just talk about the pride in pulling off that day on Bethune-Cookman with a challenge from Stephen A. to show up. So there was a little bit of added pressure. For the day, but it was just a remarkable and electric day, and I saw you over there dancing on the side. I didn't catch the footage.
I don't really know how to dance. I was doing a little something. I'm not a dancer, but you know, one thing I'll say: the spirit of competition. It's strong almost everywhere, but it's very intense here at Bethune-Cookman. It's very intense here. I kind of feel like some of it goes back to us probably feeling at times like we're the underdog. I think sometimes we feel that way, especially in the SWAC, because we're small and everything. So we probably feel like that sometimes, and sometimes we feel like we got to really do this, And so when it came to First Take, I cannot begin to tell you how energized this campus was, because we knew we were going to be on an international stage with Stephen A. Smith, and that we had to put forth not only our best foot, but we had to put forth everything within us to ensure that this went off without a stitch and without a glitch, rather. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Our students showed up. Our band was in there. We had alums and members of the community in there. And to your point, I mean, it was so loud in Moore Gymnasium. I mean, you could just, you could have been probably a block away from our campus and could have heard the energy coming out of Moore Gymnasium on that day. It was absolutely amazing. I think probably one of the most exciting moments from this past academic year. Well, there are several. I'll put it up there in the top 5. All right, that day was up there in the top 5. And for me as president, to look out and see our students, they're hyped up. They had so much school spirit, so much school pride, like extremely proud of their institution. That's amazing to see that, absolutely amazing to see that.
I gotta say, as not an alum of Bethune-Cookman University, when Donovan struck up Wildcats Let's Go, you could not only hear it, you could feel the thickness of that pride and that energy. The drum majors were stepping higher, the cheerleaders were dancing harder, the students were doing what they were doing. It was really an electric day for Bethune-Cookman University and a great impression. And I really like how you understand, and I often see in this business that sometimes the university presidents don't always get the correlation between athletics and that visibility and how it can enhance your university. So many universities that get it, universities that get that, they use it, and it's a valuable tool to enhance what you're doing academically because of your visibility.
Yep. One of the things that I often think about is what are the things that would attract a 17 or 18-year-old to college? Especially a 17 or 18-year-old who may be struggling and trying to decide whether or not this is even worth it. And for parents who themselves are trying to decipher whether or not that's even worth it. Oftentimes, in addition to what happens in the classroom, in addition to whatever academic programs you have to offer, whatever academic programs you're known for, the thing that can often be that sort of convincing factor for families and students who are on the fence, it's the band, athletics, because these kids are going to come here and they're going to want something to do when they get here. They're going to need to know that there's some kind of extracurricular culture, extracurricular life in this institution that I can that I can actually deal with, that I can survive through. And even our games on Saturdays, our football games on Saturdays, our kids show up for those. Like our students show up for those. They show up for our basketball games. I mean, back to Moore Gymnasium. You're talking about the just sort of the electricity in Moore Gymnasium. I've got scenes in my mind from this past basketball season where you have, in between the media breaks we have to do and all of that sort of stuff, you got, the Greek-led organizations, they come down on the floor, on the court, and they start strolling and everything, and everybody's, to cheat, like it is unlike, the experience there is almost unlike an experience anywhere else. And, people say, well, wouldn't you guys love a new gym? Yes, I'd love a new gym. But how do you recreate the spirit of Moore Gymnasium? That's one of the things that I think we have to always kind of hold on to and bear in mind. You can get a new space, but will you be able to recreate that spirit?
And to your point, a lot of people don't realize that Duke University, as great as they are, they don't have this great big gym.
No, they don't.
Keep it small, so that it can keep that energy in it. So we'll move on. We're not talking about Duke today, but I just wanted to make that.
But that's my alma mater, and I spent a lot of time in that gym when Coach K was coaching there.
Absolutely, on purpose.
And to your point, there's a lottery system for students to get in there.
Right.
The gym is small as heck.
Right.
And there are more kids outside than there are inside because they refuse to build a larger gym. They don't want to.
It creates a mystique.
We're the same way here at Bethune-Cookman. Yes. We refuse to build a larger gym.
So we have First Take, and then a couple of days later, a few miles east of here, we head to Orlando.
Sounds like Orlando, yeah.
Orlando, Florida Blue, Florida Classic.
Yeah.
It's your first time as president. Let's start with the luncheon, the kickoff luncheon. What was your impression of being the president and participating in the kickoff?
Well, it was a lot of pressure, all right, because everybody's filling my head with these stories of what happened last year, year before, and how you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do that. And so I went into it thinking to myself, man, this is going to be hard, And it was hard, it was hard because you're walking that very fine line between, trying to have fun, to be funny, but at the same time, realizing that, in about 24 hours or so, we're going to meet each other on the field, and while as I said in my little thing I did, today we're family, we're friends, but tomorrow, it's a whole different story, But it was, I had a great time. That was, I'm looking forward to this coming November. I'm gonna leave it at that because I know you may have another question about it because I've got a story to tell about that. But
and let's talk about Friday night, Battle of the Bands at the was it the Kia Center?
Yeah, the Kia Center.
Kia Center. I'm old. I do Amway. I still say Amway, so I've got to replace it with Kia. But marching bands from all across the state come to participate. Basically, these students are trying to showcase themselves for these universities.
Yep. They're all across the Southeast, actually. So we have bands from outside of the state as well. And we have an opportunity to be there and to watch them. And then sort of the culmination of the evening after the high school bands, you got you've got our two bands. Right. You got our band and FAMU's band that take the field. I think for those kids, those high school students who are there, for them to be able to be in that environment and to see what they can aspire to, I think that's, for me, that is, while this may be a recruiting tool for us and for FAMU, I think perhaps more than anything else, the stroke of genius in that is allowing students to see what they can become. That's the stroke of genius in that. For them to be able to look and say, wow, that can be me in a year or 2 or 3 from now. And providing them that space, providing them that forum where they can really envision what their future would look like.
Before I go to the game, I must respond to what you just said. A few years ago, Dr. Reed, Kibby Reed, and Dr. Castell Bryant were leading FAMU and Bethune respectively. And they decided that the universities needed to form a corporation Florida Classic Consortium to enhance what was going on with the Florida Classic. How brilliant was that of those ladies to pull that together? And what you see today, which is unprecedented, that you would have two rival institutions join forces to make sure that they could maximize the rivalry game.
Well, you know, I did not know that story, but I'm not surprised. From what I know about each of those women, and Dr. Bryant, who just passed away, but both of them are geniuses. And but the notion of two HBCUs owning their own game. Absolutely. This is the only one in the nation like this. Yes. There are a lot of classics around the nation between HBCUs. The only one that is actually owned by the two institutions is this one, the Florida Classic. And it has been, I think, one of the best partnerships that Bethune-Cookman and FAMU could ever form, not only amongst ourselves, but with also the corporate partners that we work with to bring this game about every year. It benefits each of us tremendously. We make good money off of it. Yes. We really do. We make good money off of it. But more than that, we bring together these two families. You know, we bring together these two families, and we come together. We compete fiercely on the field. We love on one another. We talk trash to one another, whole 9 yards. One of us, one or the other, gets bragging rights for the next year. This year, fortunately, was us. We got the bragging rights, and it's amazing, you know. Yeah.
You know, I've known Coach Woody for a while. I have never seen him as intense as he was after that game. I mean, even when he walked into the media room, I mean, he was ready to play. He was ready to go play another game. He was really excited. Just talk about what it means. You know, we've talked about part of the bottom line is something financially that each institution can depend on each year. But those bragging rights mean a lot. I mean, the next week you got to go to Thanksgiving with your relatives. Wildcats and Rattlers got to sit across from each other, and they've got to hear it. One year I went to the tailgate, which is one of the best in the country in the RV area, and literally every RV is split. So there was a tradition, and you'll see it up on the screen, where whoever loses, they're on the cake the next year. So whoever loses, the winning team gets the cake made, and they make a caricature of them on the cake.
Wow.
Well, this is the annual family Florida Classic meal, and whoever team that goes the previous year has to be on the cake the following year. It's all right, you know. We understand we take off, we take them how we come. Had 9 good years of cake. Now we don't want to hear about 9 years. But now we're even. This is a well-used late team that has never won. Shut up! You knew this day was coming.
And it is something to see, and there's a lot of, just talk about the intensity of the rivalry on that day and importance.
So, all right, so Vaughn, I got to tell you a story.
Okay.
All right, we were down on the field, right? We were members of my team. We were down there.
I was actually standing next to you all.
Yes, I remember. Yep, I remember that.
Kind of opposite where they were, because they were way on the other.
Yep.
Yes.
And so I think there were about 2.5 minutes left in the game, right? And FAMU, of course, was in the lead. And I'm going to make a confession, all right? I got slightly discouraged, and I said, okay, all right, well, let me go back up to the box, you know? So I started walking. We were going back up to the box. It took us a while to get there, to get through all the people and stuff. So we got up there, and so the way the boxes, the way the suites are sort of structured, you've got us, a large restroom area, and FAMU. And so I was like, oh man, I'm feeling a little bit, downcast. So I said, I'm going to go and pray. So I literally did this. I went into the bathroom and I said a prayer, and I'm in there praying, and then I hear all of this cheering, but I couldn't figure out which side it was coming from. I'm standing there in the bathroom, and I was like, all right, I don't know if this is coming from this side or this side, but I know which side is mine and which side is not mine. So I'm in the bathroom, and I get closer to the door to leave the bathroom, and I hear the cheering. It just gets louder and louder. And I said, yes, it's coming from this side. It's coming from my side. And so I come out, and I had a little running joke with one of my board members. I would kind of leave and go talk to people, and I'd come back and say, what happened? After something big happened. So I run over to find this particular board member. I said, what happened? It was amazing. But for about 3 seconds, when I could not discern which side that cheering was coming from, like my stomach was turning, because I'm like, oh man, I was like, I hear somebody celebrating. I don't know who's celebrating. And then I get closer to the door, and I was like, wait a minute, it's coming from this ear. That's us on that side, And so yeah.
Well, your prayer works. They say prayer works.
It does, Yeah, I may try that again this coming year. So.
And the final question, just what are you looking forward to this next coming year as far as Bethune-Cookman University in general?
Yep. So, wrapping up year one, this was a really, really good transition year. We launched a lot of new initiatives this past year. One of those is our completely online format that we do now called BCU Global. And this is one of those programs really designed to increase access. So we wanted to say to people that geography should never be a barrier for you getting an education. You should not have to move. You should be able to get your education from wherever you are. And we especially wanted to say this to veterans and military families. We wanted to say it to people who we call stop-outs, those who began their educational journey, but because of life happened and they had to conclude that journey. So I wanted to say to them, you can come back to school, or people who are looking to pivot, older second career people who have been doing something for a number of years and wake up one morning and say, I think I want to do something different now. Mm-hmm. So we launched BCU Global. Really excited about that. We had our first BCU Global graduate back in May, this past May. And we are slated to have a fairly large class of BCU Global students this fall. We also launched BCU Futures. This is a suite of 8 new degree programs that are designed to prepare our students for high demand careers. So I mentioned a few of them earlier: applied AI, actuarial science, cybersecurity, digital marketing, esports/gaming administration, healthcare administration, supply chain management, and then the healthcare administration, both at the undergraduate and the graduate level. So those are things that began this year, and we're anticipating even greater growth with those new initiatives as high school kids who are looking to come to college. They look at these kinds of disciplines. This is the stuff you can get jobs in. You graduate with a degree in cybersecurity. You're gonna folks are gonna seek you out like you would not believe, mm-hmm. and you're gonna start earning a salary far higher than what any of us started making when we started working. But applied AI, all of these things. So we got those kinds of initiatives that started this past year that we know will continue to grow and expand in year 2 and beyond. And there are a bunch of other things that we got going. We started this new research partnership and encouraging our faculty to do more research grants and to engage in more sort of extensive research and publications, all that sort of stuff. So I'm looking forward to the growth of those things. I'm looking forward to this being another strong year for us in terms of athletics. We've got some good recruits that I'm excited about in basketball and in football. We've got a new head women's basketball coach. Extremely excited about her.
I saw her resume.
Yep. Yeah, she's coming home, and so I'm thinking this year we're gonna have a very good year. We are gonna have a very, very good year. I'm looking at about 4 of 5 regular season championships this year.
Reggie.
Yeah, about 4 or 5. 4 or 5, Reggie, okay? Volleyball, we can do it. Volleyball can do it. We can do it. Now women's basketball, baseball, basketball, and probably football even this year, and perhaps softball. And then you got track, you got field, you got cross country. Hey, all of them. How about that,
You're supposed to think that way anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's good for the coaches and the athletes and the coaches to know that you have that confidence in them.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Mosley, I see you got your souvenir here from First Take, signed by everybody. We would like to give you a little token from HBCU Game Day. We see you every now and then wear a hat, so we'd like to give you one of our hats and wish the Wildcat Nation.
You know what I'm going to do, Vaughn? I'm going to put this hat on now. Actually,
you know, like signing day. Let's do it like signing day.
I got to make sure it fits my big head first. So, all right, there we go. All right. Yeah.
Dr. Mosley is HBCU Game Day official. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us. Another of our stops through the state of Florida, talking with the presidents of HBCUs. He is Dr. Albert Mosley, the president of Bethune-Cookman University.
Stephen A., you asked us to show up. You're in Daytona Beach, Wildcat Country. Now it's time for you to show up. Let's go.
The Florida Blue Florida Classic, Saturday, November 21st at Camping World Stadium.